This just took a shocking turn. Is Jokic saying goodbye to Denver? And Valanciunas finally breaks his silence on Greek trade drama. Let's get into all that and more today on Nuggets Digest. Hey there, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Stuart Hicar, Colorado native, basketball fan, and also the most trusted man in all of amateur sports entertainment. That's a fact. Also a fact, and this one's a little bit worrying, did you know only about 10% of you are actually subscribed to this channel, which means almost 90% of you are missing out on the best gosh darn basketball analysis this side of the continental divide. So if you like what we do here at Nuggets Digest, hit that subscribe, hit that like button, stay up to date with your favorite Mile High team. Alrighty, what are we covering today? Well, there's pretty big breaking news, and it's got all to do with this guy right here. That's right, our lovable MVP, Nikola Jokic. I think we all know as Nuggets fans would do anything for this man. We'd die for him. That's just a fact. And recently, we've been sort of in this weird limbo space with Jokic, and it has to do with a contract extension. He's currently under a 5-year deal, and on the table this year was a 3-year extension worth about $212 million. However, there's sort of a different option on the table, which means he wouldn't sign it this year and he would sign next year for a longer contract. But that also means technically next year he would be eligible on the market and other teams could make offers. And that's a frightening place for the Nuggets to be in. But why are we talking about this specifically today? Well, it has to do with this headline right here. This broke just today. Why Nikola Jokic reportedly won't sign extension with Nuggets this summer. And honestly, it's a bit of, I don't know, it's a little worrying, but it's also not the end of the world. I don't want anyone to feel like this is all doom and gloom because it really isn't. Jokic, I think, is a guy who doesn't like drama. I think he's a guy who likes Denver as a city. And honestly, I think recently we have made some moves that Jokic was really pleased with. And I know that because of, these headlines and quotes coming out from guys like Windy and Shams. And essentially this headline right here, Nikola Jokic reportedly very pleased with Nuggets free agency and contract rumors. So that's a plus. That's in the plus category for us. It seems like the number one reason Jokic would have left Denver or wouldn't have re-signed is if we spent yet another offseason signing absolutely no one, going nowhere in free agency, adding no depth. And as of the last 2 weeks, the Nuggets have added guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., Cam Johnson. It seems like possibly Valanciunas will be coming to the team as well. We've just been making a lot of Bruce Brown. How could I forget Bruce Brown? Cowboy Brown coming back to the team. We've been making a lot of moves to add depth to our bench, and we haven't sacrificed much other than some contract spacing and a 2032 unprotected pick, which, look, in 7 years, I'll have heartburn about that, but as of right now, I'm very happy with what we got back in that trade. I love Cam Johnson. I'm psyched he's on the team, and I think Jokic is probably pretty excited as well. I think these are the kind of moves that Jokic was probably waiting for, and what he mentioned at the end when we were eliminated by the Thunder in Game 7. He mentioned that the reason the Thunder were such a good team this year had to do with the makeup of the team, the depth on the bench, and the fact that they were just such a solid unit where you could rely on guys 6 or 7 seats down the bench without worrying at all. And the Nuggets were like a 6-man rotation squad in the playoffs. We didn't get to play as many people. New head coach David Adelman definitely extended the amount of players we were using on the court as opposed to former coach Michael Malone. But it still wasn't enough, obviously, to get us to the championship. We took the Thunder to 7, but what I think that really shows is that we just needed a little more help. We just needed a couple more guys who could give us a couple more good minutes on the floor. And I think this offseason has been fantastic for that, minus all the Valanciunas drama. We'll get to that in a second. So this is a positive. It seems like Jokic is happy with this free agency. However, I don't know if you remember like a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks now, when Josh Kroenke had this weird press conference where he put together this series of unfortunate events that made him say the wrong person gets injured, and very quickly you're in a scenario that I never want to have to contemplate, and that's trading number 15. I understand now he's, kind of tried to clarify that he's saying, that is the worst I would never do that in a million years, but because of aprons being where they are and because of injuries, maybe there's a chance it has to happen. And at the time, I was furious with the guy. I was just mad because I'm like, why are you talking about this? Why are we bringing this up? Why is this something we should even be referencing? Hey, knock on wood. This shouldn't be something we discuss. It just seems like bad luck. But I do think right now we were sort of in this push and pull where the Nuggets wanted Jokic to sign his extension, but they kind of need to prove to him that like things aren't just going to be the same. We aren't just going to rely on you to carry this team for 48 minutes a night. So, pluses and minuses. There's pros and cons right now. There's a lot of evidence, I think, that shows that Jokic will end up staying in Denver and re-signing for more money. But let's look at the actual breakdown of the deal itself and what we're going off of. And I believe this is from the Denver Post. Yep, Bennett Doronado. This is coming from Bennett Doronado. Very good. Jokic has a minimum of 2 years remaining on his current Supermax contract, as well as a player option for the 27-28 season. Tuesday was the first day he was eligible for an extension that would add up to 3 years and $212 million to that deal. However, he can earn an additional $80 million approximately by pushing off an extension until the 2026 offseason. And I mean, I don't need to show you Jokic's stats to understand why this is so important. The Nuggets are in a place where they would willingly pay absolutely anything for this man. It really comes down to his decision. And if he already knows he wants to stay in Denver, and if he likes what we've been doing in this offseason, then I think just holding out, maybe letting the front office know, hey, I intend to sign next year, but I want that larger deal. I want to stick with you for longer. I want to get the biggest money I can out of that deal. And again, remember, that's an additional $80 million. It's not pocket change that he's holding out for. So I do see him signing at the end of next season, especially after all of this free agency mix-up and shake-up. It's just obviously a little bit scary if you're a Nuggets fan because, hey, we love this guy. He's the heart of our team. He's really the reason the Nuggets are a championship team alone is on his back. And I think anytime you have even the slightest possibility of something going wrong, some sort of convoluted series of events that somehow makes him move. We all see whenever there's a little bit of an upset, you see all those photoshops on Twitter of Jokic in a Lakers jersey, and they're like, well, it's going to happen. And I'm like, shut up. But even feeling as confident as I do, there are those little twinges of doubt and fear just because we don't have him signed yet. Again, I don't think Jokic likes drama. I don't think he would be holding out on this if he didn't already have a plan and a level of communication with the front office about what he is going to do. And again, you got to remember, this guy is a newer father. He's got a family. I don't think he's really looking to move around much and make things difficult for him. Denver has taken care of him. Colorado as a state absolutely loves him. And I personally think the Nuggets would be smart to pay anything at any time to make sure that he retires a Nugget. I'm not saying that would be at the end of this next deal, but I also don't think Jokic is a guy who's going to be playing, deep into his 30s. I could see him retiring 34, 35, 36, somewhere in that window. Just because why bother? Why hurt yourself? Why do all that extra work? Why not head back to Serbia, race horses, drink beer, and have a great life as the most famous Serbian basketball player in history? Anyway, with that said, let's look at another European player on the market right now who is adding so much drama to our lives. It's Valanciunas. Here's an update on the weirdness of his trade. When the trade is finalized, we'll come up with a plan. The Nuggets will express their wishes, how they think, how they see it, medical, other details that will depend on the team. We'll only find out when the first game is played. What is he referencing here? Well, he's essentially talking about this strange deal going on between him and Panathinaikos, the Greek FIBA team, who he is currently in this tug of war between a trade contract that the Nuggets intend to make him play a year for Denver, which would be huge for us, having a backup center like Valanciunas, versus this apparently great Greek deal where he would be the leader of the team. And trust me, there are a lot of Greek fans in the Denver subreddit going insane about this right now in fury. I personally think that quote is BS. I think it's really lame for him to just sort of be like, well, we'll see, I think part of this, if I'm honest, has to do with the fact that Valanciunas has been getting his butt stomped on by Jokic for the last 5 seasons. If you look at the stats, Jokic is practically has a triple-double every single game they've ever played. The win percentage over him is so high. And when you have two European big men going back, against each other, I think there is a little bit of ego there. There's a little bit of like, hey, let me put you down. I got to show you I'm way better than you. It certainly exists with Rudy Gobert when Jokic is playing him. So I would imagine it probably also exists with Valanciunas. And maybe that's one of the reasons he doesn't want to just be like, well, I have to now sign a contract essentially admitting I'm a backup. I'm worse than this guy right here. We all know it's true. He's like messing around with all this Greek stuff. Honestly, man, part of me is wondering, would it be a better idea just to like cut him, get rid of this trade, go for Al Horford or a different center out there on the market, just so we don't have to deal with all this drama that this random guy is putting together? I mean, random. Valanciunas is great. He would be such a fantastic backup center. But obviously, this is all a lot of hullabaloo for nothing, especially if in the end he's forced to do the contract anyway. So Valanciunas, stop it. Grow up. Stop messing around, man. Why can't you be more like this guy right here? And while, yes, he messed around a little bit on his contract, I still trust him completely to re-sign in the future, especially if we have all of this depth added to the team. But those are just my opinions, What do you think? Do you agree with my very good takes, or do you think I should have to wait until 2026 until I have another hot take? Either way, join the community down below, write something in the comments, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. My name is Stuart Hicar, and this has been another perfect video. Just a 10 out of 10. No mistakes at all. Until next time, go Nugs.